Anyway, we were just laughing with the podcast, folks. Hey, the House of Hagens podcast is gonna be lit. So that's a whole nother topic. But Darius Marcel, Brittney Vershay, and this is Becoming House of Hagens. We would like to say welcome. If this is your first time, we're excited to have you here. If you're returning, thank you for coming back. Before we get started, we want to say subscribe, hit that button down below,
and like.
Hit the bell, like it, and just in case you like something about the video, make sure you share with somebody else. This topic right here is a huge topic that we're about to talk about, and it is problem resolution.
It's a good one.
Problem resolution.
Yeah.
It's a very good one because there are a million problems that can arise in your personal life, in your family life, in your friend life, in your relationship life, in your career life. It's a lot of different things that can arise. So we wanted to talk about that because we see a lot of people dealing with a lot of issues, and we see a lot of people not necessarily resolving those things in a responsible manner or in a progressive manner that's going to help them to be able to get something positive out of everything. People are solving problems in a way that's only going to rear its head later. You think you're fixing it, or you think you're putting it off, or we live in cut-off culture, or we cutting them off, cutting that off, and it don't work.
It's coming back and bite you.
It don't work.
Hard.
We're too grown for that. Like, everything is going to come back
You
and
can't have
find
a
a way to get
conversation
you.
with that person.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. We live in it's cut off people time for whatever reason. Anytime someone makes a mistake, they are canceled, and we can't do that. So we wanted to talk about problem resolution, so that way not only just stuff that we've experienced within our relationship and things that have helped us to be able to grow, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
We're talking about relationship goals. They help you reach relationship goals. It's extremely important to understand that the goals have to come first before you hit the goals.
Yeah.
You are never going to hit those goals without the goals, and problem resolution is very, very high at the list. So I'll let Britt start. Let her talk about problem resolution.
For us, we rarely argue, and what we do is most like it's being reduced down to just a disagreement. Only because we feel so passionate about our own opinion, and I think that we still respect each other enough to allow each other to speak and to be heard, and to hear each other out as to what we have to say. I will say this, it baffles me how people cut off, oh, that was toxic in my life, and how would you know you were toxic? Or that person was toxic unless you were affected somehow. And what did you do to remove the toxicity from your life once they're out of the picture? Like, what did you do to make sure you were cleansed, you were healed from that toxic relationship? And I think that from us getting together after our breakups, it wasn't in the aspect of we were trying to heal each other's wounds. We weren't trying to mend each other. We came as adults and just being on our grown mindset. We were just like, you know what? I don't want to go down this road again. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be upset, disappointed in myself for allowing me to go back to what I'm used to and still not get the results that I'm looking for. And so with us, we were able to have that conversation, so many conversations, and it's so welcoming, and it's so worth it, really, to have your partner talk with you about if something should arise, how it should handle it. Knowing me, like I said, I am a mother's child, and I am naturally nosy. I was looking at Pinterest, and there was a list of questions to ask your partner, and I was like, well, I could use some of these to kind of find out what he's thinking, and not in the fact of being just nosy or facetious or just want to be all in his business, but really find out how he thinks, how he processes things. So some questions I asked him were more so to find out what he's thinking, first and foremost, how he thinks, how he processed them, and then how he also incorporates me in his answer. I love when my best friend, when she first met him, no, not when she first met him, it was around, no, it was the first time, yeah. So my best friend, she met him for the first time. And she said, I love the fact that when he talks about the future tense, he says we and not I or me. It's always referred to as us. And so when you have a partner like that who is ready to incorporate you in the future tense, it opens up the conversation as to, okay, now I know we're going to have our issues later on in life. So how is we and us going to resolve it? And so we had those conversations, and we came up with our own rules of engagement because we wanted to have a list of rules that we abide by that would ground our relationship, so that if we do have a disagreement, we can go right back to it and say, okay, now you remember on this date at this time you said this is what you want out of the relationship, so don't be afraid now that we're having this conversation. And I think what gets us the most is that it checks us. It lets us know that you can't let this slide. You have to be equally as responsible for that person's future as well as your own. And I think that a part of that is that resolution aspect.
Yeah.
We spent majority of our careers in resolutions and dealing with other customers' issues. And how come we can't have the same energy or the same direct drive when it comes to resolving those same issues in our relationships? We just let it slide. We just don't say nothing about it. We just let it fester and grow into something. And by the time that
nasty.
It get real nasty. You get real ignorant. And
that's a terrible way to handle things.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it shows sheer irresponsibility that you do not try to be better for your spouse, for your significant other, for your partner, and you lack in all of that, like, because you can't really communicate what it is that you want, and you cannot find the resolution. I think for us, becoming House of Hagens and doing this and showing you all what it is we did, this is to show you not just our life experiences, but I'll also provide you with resolutions, or at least the framework and the format as to what we go by.
Yeah, you got to step outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. I saw this meme that this girl posted the other day on Facebook. Because like I always say, I use social media as a platform to study sociology. I really love what people think, whether I agree with it or not. It helps me to understand the world better. And she posted this meme, and it said, a woman apologizing was, so you still mad? And I saw women liking it and all that and comment. I was just like, bruh. So it's like the stereotype is that men don't know how to apologize, right? And in many instances that can be true. But how is it that somebody could post that openly, not realizing it's like that means that you don't know how to resolve the problem? Like that has to be something you gotta pick that up in that moment, the maturity level, and you should recognize like, why do I agree with this? Because that means that I'm not willing to apologize when I'm wrong, and we hold our partners hostage in our relationships a lot of the time. And we don't resolve the problems. People hold on to things to hold it over people's heads. And they don't really forgive. See, because I'm big on this. You can forgive, and you may not forget, but you gotta forgive people. You cannot hold them hostage and leave them in this place of clinging to their mistakes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may not even be them who made the mistake, but I've seen people be wrong, and it does not matter. They made up their mind. This is what they think.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to think. This is what happened. I don't care what you said. This is how we're moving forward. And it's not always with significant others. It's just that's how some people resolve problems. This is what I think, and even if I'm wrong, oh well, I thought I was right, so it is what it is. That's horrible. You can't do that if you want to see something positive happen. That means that you are being dismissive. That means that you are not listening. That means that you are not being compassionate. And above all, you're not looking for a solution. You're just looking to cling to the problem.
Wow.
So when you're trying to solve a problem, one of the first things is you gotta be listening.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to everything that's going on right now, all the information, you can't process it. And I always equate that to trying to give a book report about a book you haven't read. Everybody that got read by a teacher like, I don't think you read this book. And you be like, no, I read the book. And you ain't did nothing but look at Cliff Notes.
I watched the movie.
Ooh, and you know that's the book is always different than the movie, right? So
wait, so going into a book, I saw a post. One of my friends, she posted a quote from a book, and it said that if you're in a relationship with a man and he does not get you a ring, like anytime soon, like y'all ain't engaged in nothing, y'all been talking for years, and you should have the right to go and mingle. You got the right to do so. He ain't trying to wed you, so I mean, you can go and mingle with other people. And she was like, is this, how y'all feel about this? And I said, I disagree. I said, how could you possibly invest in someone else when you invested so much already in this relationship, first and foremost? Secondly, like, how can you expect God to bless your relationship when you step outside of it in the first place? Like, what are you doing?
And I told her when she brought it to me, what woman is going to trust a man that says the same exact thing to her?
None. No, not
like,
one.
You dope, but I'm going to date these 3 other people too and see what works out. You're not going to go for that. That's what men get dragged through the dirt about. And this is why I love that she's bringing that story up. It's the flip side of it.
Yeah.
Women and men do the exact same things.
But the praise is different.
Exactly.
The praise
On
is totally
so
different.
many levels. We're doing the exact same thing. But I'll tell you something that I learned when it comes to problems. A lot of men in relationships aren't doing the right thing. So a woman can manipulate him because he knows he's making mistakes and she's pointed out those mistakes. So now he gotta live with it because he knows he's not doing the right thing. But see, here's the difference. And we went through this. When a man is actually listening, present, paying attention to what you're saying, and remember what you said and how you said it and why you said it, and actually telling you how he feels and trying to find a solution, now we gotta solve this problem differently.
Yeah.
And a lot of time people use old tactics from relationships. Oh, this got me out of this one, so I'm gonna bring this up. That don't work when you're dealing with somebody who's mature. That don't deal with it. It don't work.
Mm-hmm. And we had this conversation recently. I told him that, in that moment where I was relying on those old tactics and trying to badger him and force him to respond a certain way, if it doesn't work, what then? And so that's what happened. So thinking
I was sitting
that,
there looking at my nails like,
just post it. And my thing was this: is
ready?
that and for real. So when that happened, you rely on the stories from your girlfriends, the story from your mama's friends. You rely on just every 90s movie that just raised the question of like, well, girl, I would stand for every beauty shop conversation. It was just like, what are we teaching each other? What are we learning about love? What are we learning about how to resolve issues in our relationships? All you know is that you just got this finger point at this dude's head like this, and you're not targeting the question. You're battling and targeting his manhood. You're questioning his manhood, and you're not relying on him to be the man in the relationship. You're relying on him to be the subject in it. And so in that moment, I had to realize I had to be responsible for myself. I had to be responsible for how I treat this man. If this is what I pray for, I have to be responsible for this. And God trusted me to be with this man. Why would I discredit him? Why would I strip him of his manhood? Why would I
intentionally cause conflict?
Intentionally do it. And so in that moment, I had to grow up. In the Bible, it talks about how he said when was it Peter? No, it was Paul. And he said that when I was a child, I spake as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And so in that moment, you still have those toys and those gimmicks and those games that you play with. But there's a moment of revelation where you're like, I'm grown now. I don't have to play with these things. I don't have to rely on these things. And you have to put them away. You have to put them completely away, because now you're forced to know what else is out there beyond this that I have to learn. How else can I constructively talk to someone and gain ground and gain confidence in myself? And so learning in that moment, I said, you know what? This is stupid. I don't even know why I even caused this, because I did it. It was my fault. Knowing that I caused that rift in our relationship, and I had to really just take it and run with it.
But
and so
I had to still be willing to forgive, because what if she would have made the like made that revelation, like, love, I'm so sorry I didn't handle that right. And what if I'd have just held it over her head? And every time something came up, but you did that one time, we just keep going back to that moment. We're never gonna be able to move forward.
And I can't play the victim after that either.
Yeah.
Well, I was emotional and I just couldn't handle it, because I'm a girl, I'm a woman. That's all I'm supposed to do.
There you go. That right there.
No,
I'm a woman. I always, anytime I hear that, it's like, well, you know what they say about men.
There's no excuse.
Because as a man, they say I'm supposed to be out here just looking at every woman, chasing every woman, not listening, not caring. It don't work. It's about being mature, and we can't be in relationships where we pick and choose when we want it to be equal. You don't get to be equal up until the point where you want to break off and be able to just, well, I'm a woman, so that's going to be your explanation. No, that means you need to communicate still. You still need to listen. You still need to care.
Culture nowadays, like everybody's pushing the whole female agenda, and it's like, it's cool to be empowering each other as a woman, but you have to understand that we also have our own role. We are helpmeets. You know, God presented Eve to Adam. We are here to accomplish what it is, and I love how Dr. Miles Monroe put it all into context. He said the first thing that God established with Adam was work. He said, how can you have a man in your life who don't work?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that simmer for a minute.
That part.
How can you have a man have something for you to do if he doesn't have anything to do for himself?
Yeah.
He first has to establish work. What are we building? What are we doing? I think in our first conversations, like those 4-hour phone conversations we was having, and he was like, and this is what drove me mad, because he wouldn't tell me flat out, because he was like, he was trying to be all secretive and stuff, because he just couldn't reveal everything to me. But he would say, like, I just want to build with you. I was like, what does that mean? What is he saying to me? I was like, I don't get it. And he was like, nah, see, like I just want to build with you. I want you to be like my significant other. And I was like, so you saying significant other like a business partner, or you because you want to build with me, or you just saying because you like me and you want me to be? No, he wasn't making it clear.
Overthinking. She had no patience. I did. You know what? This is so cleansing for me, because I get to face my vulnerabilities, my insecurities, and yes, I was impatient, and yes, I was at fault for doing certain things. And when you grow up in that, when you say you are responsible for doing those type of things, you learn to do better. You know, you either continue in the same funk that you've been in every year. You in the same funk, sis, every year. Right. You know, you cannot boycott Valentine's Day every year. Right. Like, you can't. So just knowing that you have to grow out of that and learn more what God has in store for you. Like, it's important to know when it comes to problem resolution, you have to be responsible. Yeah. I keep saying that. Like, you have to be responsible in your own right. You cannot play the victim. You cannot be, you can be vulnerable in that moment. That's fine. But you have to be supportive also, because they're going to also express how they feel about you too. Yeah. Or about themselves. And I'm going to throw my little nickel in her real quick. Sometimes problem resolution is not even telling your partner that you just had to deal with something. It was so many times where Brittney said something or did something, I was just like, ooh, she don't even know what she just said or did. But I'm going to deal with this internally, because this is something that I know she's working on. It's something I know she's trying to figure out. She's never dated someone like me. She's never had to go through this process. She doesn't understand where I'm at. So if I bring this up, it's going to hinder her from getting to the other side of this. So sometimes you got to handle things that your partner never even know you was battling. And that can be difficult, because you got to put your pride to the side. Are you really looking at the overall? Because I know if I know this person is going through growing pains, then I gotta let them go through those growing pains. And that's what it was a lot of the time. And I wanted her to get through it. So I just had to chunk it up. Everything's not gonna be perfect. She's not always gonna say the right things during this season. But the growth and the evolution that we've had, man, I commend her, because I've watched her evolve in a very, very short amount of time. And like I always like to say, we're speaking the same language now. But you got to be willing to set it aside. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Because you can be right. There's a lot of times where I'm right and I'll just shut up because I'm like, me saying something right now, I'm only going to make the situation worse. I'm either going to wait for a better time to reveal this information, or I'm just going to have a conversation with myself. I'm going to talk to myself and get it out my system, because I can't have this conversation with my partner necessarily right now, because it's not beneficial. It's not going to move us forward. It's actually going to make us take a step back, because sometimes you can be in your emotions. Sometimes things can get so heated that no matter what's being said, it's not going to help. And that takes a lot of discipline, because we always get points and it's like, I got to say this. This is a good point. Don't matter.
Oh, yeah, that back and forth.
It don't matter.
Kill it.
It does not matter. Let it go. Sometimes you got to let it go. And I was just talking about this. You argue about the foundation of your relationship: loyalty, trust, honesty, respect, support, love. Those things, you can argue all day about it. If it's out of place, we need to talk about this right now. You are being very untrustworthy. You are not being loyal. You are not being supportive. You are not giving me the love that I need. Those things, if you break up with somebody because they don't trust you or you can't trust them, somebody will sit back and be like, that makes sense. But because they don't like the same food you like, or because they don't rub your feet every night, or because, you know, you wanted to go out with your friends and they didn't want to go out with your friends or something. Come on, man. You got to learn. Everything's not a war. Everything's not a battle. You got to know what to battle about, so that first and foremost you're fighting the right wars. But then secondly, within those wars, you got to know, if this was to keep happening, or if this was to happen a year from now, would I be cool with it? I'm still going to battle about trust, love, loyalty, support, honesty, love. I'm still going to battle about that a year from now, because it's still important. It's always going to be important. But the preference part of it, and I just said this to my friend, be prepared to be blessed with this. You cannot make your preferences your priority. You cannot make your preferences your priority. Yeah. Your preferences are your preferences. That's what you like. That does not translate to that's what your partner likes. That does not translate to what they've gone through. It means that they're going to understand your preference. In time, they may get it, but you can't expect your preferences to be met 100% up and down your long list of whatever it may be. You can't expect that, because it's a preference. Like, today you like pizza, tomorrow you want Chinese. Boom, that's a preference. But you always gonna want me to love you. You always gonna want me to trust you. You always gonna want me to be loyal to you and loyal to our relationship. So those are the things that you can really take that time to stand upon. And as we get closer to closing this one out, I feel like more people within the confines of a relationship have to learn to step outside of your own emotions.
Yeah.
When you can do that, you can really listen to your partner. And they can be dead wrong, but at least you know what led them to that point of thinking. So that way you can hear, like, oh, they come from a household where they argued a lot, or their last relationship, their partner didn't value their opinion. Oh, they just, really what they're trying to say is they want me to listen to them. Or really what they're trying to say is they need support. They're yelling. And we're back. Sony. Come on, Sony.
Those Sony moments.
Work with me, Sony. Anyway, since we got that break in action, I need y'all to subscribe. Hit that button below. Hit the bell right next to it. Like the video. Share the video. Let somebody know what we're doing here. This is Houses Hagens. Darius Brittney vs. Shay. So what we were finishing up on is the fact of, in a relationship, problem resolution is essential.
It is.
And you have to be willing to know know when to go into battle. And you have to know that your priorities cannot be your preference. That's what I was just talking about. When your priorities become your preference, you leave your partner in a space where they're going to be in uncharted waters all the time, because what your preferences are going to change. They're always going to be changing, so your partner's never really going to make you happy, and you're always,
have no value.
Yeah, you're always going to pick them apart. And it's like it'll be a situation. I've gone through this personally. Last week you said you want to do this way. This week you want to go this way. And last week we argued about it. You were really adamant. This is what I like. This is what I need you to do. And now this week, this is what I like. This is what I need you to do. Me, I'm pretty logical. So it's like, what just happened to what we argued about last week? Do you still want me to do that too? Or you want me to do this now? It's like, oh, this person is not stable.
And the Bible talks about that. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Yes.
And so you cannot be double-minded in what you want. And like you said, which is powerful enough, your preferences cannot be your priorities. You limit the potential that your partner could present to you as far as like what you can do to build on your relationship. And so when we did our rules of engagement, we made sure that we heard each other out. We wrote down what each partner wanted, and then from there we went back and discussed even further. We even added Bible verses that backed up what it is that we wanted, and things that were scriptural, things that were just our preferences, but also not so much. It was more so like what was for the benefit of both of us. So we could benefit from us having a relationship with God. We can benefit from just having a healthy lifestyle. We can benefit both as we have fun in our relationship. We can benefit from all those different things that we wanted and not leave each other vulnerable and left out in the relationship. Because a lot of people, they will do and what I love what our pastor said is that marriage is a ministry, and that it's not slavery, it's not a dictatorship. Marriage is a ministry. You have to minister one to another. You have to encourage and lift up one to another. You have to really just impart one into another and build each other up. From there,
y'all on the same team.
Same team.
And as somebody who plays sports for so long, if like I play football, I play baseball, I play basketball, if one of those people does not do their job, everybody's going to suffer. And if my job is to win, I know I can't tear this person down. I need to build them up. So it's like you can fall in line with the rest of us, because right now you off, but you got to know when you got to build your teammate up. I don't want to see you keep failing. I don't want to keep on pounding into you what you're doing wrong. I want to celebrate what you're doing right. I'm going to correct you. I think that's just what you got to do. We grown. We're not always going to get it perfect. So sometimes you may do stuff and it's just like, my bad, baby. I'm completely sorry. I tell her all the time, like, my memory is dope, but at the same time, I sometimes don't remember what day it is. I'm being straightforward, and she gets that now. Like, she understands what I mean by that, because we talk about it, but sometimes we don't always, like, sometimes she don't remember what I said because we doing so much stuff and all this type of stuff. So sometimes you can forget things can slip through the crack, and it can lead to conflict. But we're on the same. Yes, we're on the same team. Like, literally, it's like, well, the whole solution is, this is what I was trying to tell you. You didn't remember, so I'm not going to beat you up because you didn't remember. I'm just going to tell you what you didn't remember, so that way we can get to the point of what we're trying to do.
Right.
And that's what it has to be. You got to realize that the goal is for you both to win. You don't want you just to win. You don't want just your partner to win. Both of you all should be winning. Both of you all should be getting benefit out of the relationship, or else it's not worth it.
So they should want to build with you.
Yes.
They should want you to be your significant other.
Yes, and you are on the same team. So you got to think about, when it comes to problem resolution. I'll tell you from a biblical story that I love, the story of Abraham and Lot.
Yeah.
Right? Lot was like, well, you can't take you trying to take everything, and I'm trying to make sure that he got what he wanted, and just really being selfish and not really thinking about the fact that he only had the stuff because Abraham was blessed by God.
Right.
But Abraham literally said, which way you want to go? If you go that way, I'm gonna go this way. If you go this way, I'm gonna go that way. And whatever happens from there. But I just want it to be solved.
Yep.
That type of submission to the problem and just like I want an actual resolution to it,
yes.
It changes everything. So it's like when your partner, now mind you, I'm not saying reinforce somebody when they're wrong, like, because you can't do that. What I'm saying is if you all are being in a situation where you're mature enough, and if you recognize that you are wrong, or if you see that there's a way to solve the problem, then solve the problem, even if that sometimes may mean I may not get exactly what I want, but
yeah, that's good.
But overall, I'm cool with this. I'm not really compromising my morals, my values, my beliefs in
and
this
sometimes
moment.
you need that hit to your pride.
Yeah.
Because you had all the time in the world
Yeah.
to build this mentality up about yourself and your preferences and your ideas and your
And they ain't worked.
mentality.
All I'm saying is you ain't
It
got no
ain't
ring.
worked so far.
And if you ain't happily married, it ain't worked.
No.
Flat
and
out.
then that one moment where
Yeah.
it's attacked, you just feel like, you just don't like who I am.
Podcast is lit. Anyway, Sony, we're gonna get you together as you record into this MacBook Pro over this Samson G-Track microphone. Oh my goodness. That's just a little intermission. Anywho, I'm gonna say it again. Subscribe there, hit the bell, like the video, share it, all that good stuff. But we're gonna get close to wrapping this video up. But the thing about problem resolution that we really want to drive home is that it is vital.
Yes.
Find harmony with your partner. Do not dwell on their mistakes. Do not punish them. If it's at a point where you gotta do that, that's not the relationship for either one of you. Seriously. You should be able to make a mistake and know that you can bring it to your partner and get through it. Now, when I say that,
Don't try to justify.
no,
Just out there.
No, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm not talking about you being out here cheating on somebody, beating on somebody. None of that. I'm just being real. Like I'm not saying.
Subtle with mine.
No, I'm not being subtle. We being straightforward. We having real talk right now.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to go out and cheat on your partner and to come back and like, well, babe, you're supposed to understand. Because Hagens said, nah. That's not what we're saying over here. What we're saying is, if you don't always remember all the details, you should feel like you can let your partner know, I'm sorry, babe, I forgot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You show up late. Okay. They shouldn't beat you to the ground over 5 minutes, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to have friends outside the relationship. Like, she has friends that were here before me, and I'm sure they'll be here the entire duration of our relationship. It should be okay for you to talk to your friends and go out and hang out with your friends and catch up with your friends. All these different types of things. Certain things may not be perfect within your relationship, but regardless of what's going on, you should be able to bring it to your partner and know that we're going to work through this in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
And we're going to find a solution at the end of it. So as we do close, I just want to challenge whether you are in a relationship or if you are single, and specifically I would say if you've been in a relationship for a long time or if you've been in a relationship for a very brief moment. When problems arise within your relationship, what would happen if you inserted God into those relationship issues with you? What if you went to the Word to resolve that problem? Because like we said, when we created our rules of engagement, which is going to be a dope video for you all, we backed it up with Scripture. It changes everything because now it's not my opinion. It's like it's right here. And it's within context. It says that First Corinthians love, that changed your life.
Yeah.
Because that's how God loves us. So you're getting love that does not keep record. That's one of the things that I love in that scripture. It says love does not keep record of wrongdoings. It's not trying to hold you hostage. It's trying to love you, to liberate you, to let you be free. It's to let you be who you are, That's what love is all about. It's not trying to hinder you. And love is so awesome that it will transform you. You will want to do better for your partner. Because as you all grow together, your problems are going to shift. Once you all start to communicate better, now we don't worry about communication. We're trying to figure out, all right, well, how we do better at finances? How do we do better at trying to be...
all the time.
Yeah, like how do we get better at doing other things? Because now we kind of figured the communication part out. We're talking and we're just bringing stuff to the table.
Point where we throw ideas at each other. Like, oh, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's great that we think along the same line because we're able to build faster. We're able to kind of go things and we don't have to build up. Oh, well, I wonder how he's gonna respond if I say this. Or I wonder how he's gonna think if I say something like this. We don't have to think about that because we already know how he's gonna respond. I know how he's gonna think about this.
Bring it to
but
the
I
table.
want to know what it is that you really think about it constructively because we have to discuss these things anyway. How can we establish a lifestyle together if we don't talk about it?
Yeah.
How can we possibly build our future together for our children, for our generations after us if we don't talk about it?
Yeah. But we know no matter what we bring to the table, there is a resolution that is awaiting us. Yeah. Whether it's her suggestion, that's the one that makes more sense, or it's mine, or sometimes it may just be we got to go to the word. Because neither one of us really had an answer, so let's see if we can find that, or if it's us seeking godly counsel, you know what I'm saying, speaking to an elder or a pastor or whatever it may be, to try to get some advice about something that we may just not have the information available to understand. But at the end of the day, we're on the same team, and we want you all to remember that. And like I said, that's whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. Even if it's as a single person, learn how to go into a relationship. Like, start having those conversations in advance. We practice everything else. Practice being healthy. Practice, like, let me listen to you. You know what? That's a good point. I like what you said there. Maybe we can try that. Practice those things, and you'll be amazed how that carries over into everything you're doing. And you'll see more resolution than conflicts arising in your life. So just know that it's possible, and know that it's not always easy, but there are solutions that are available. And especially if you are clinging to the Word of God, there are so many solutions available to every problem that you may have. God is so much bigger than all of our problems. And there are solutions that can be had even in the darkest hours. You can find a solution to everything if you trust God. So as we always say here, light, love, legacy. That's what we're on. So we just thank you all for tuning in to Becoming House of Hagens. As we said before, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, like the video, share it, and we'll be back for more awesome content. I'm Darius Marcel. This is Brittney Verche, and we're signing off. Y'all be blessed. What if it's all true?
And what if?
Oh, what if God really can give you peace? And what if you really can? For life, you don't have to be condemned. You don't have to be in this position where you are constantly feeling like you're not good enough for God. God has made provision for you. So just believing in that alone can take you so far. And that's so amazing because that's what the young people need. That's what our generation needs and the generation after us. We've been told you got to clean yourself up, you got to look this way, you got to dress this way.